guest today, Quinn Pitcock, guy to me whose story doesn't get told enough, probably parallels football and video games, but ultimately is about a man finding himself, maybe confronting his demons a little bit to get his life in order. So, Quinn, if we were to talk about football, what role do you think that plays in your life?
Football has been a majority role in my whole life, really, and that's the weird thing for me is once I got away from it, it felt like my life was over, so I had to go back to it. And so it's been majority of my life. It's got me through college, and I've made money from it.
So, in terms of video games, what role do you think that played in your life?
It's played a small part. I mean, it was always a part of my life where, as a kid, I grew up playing the Nintendo, Sega Genesis, 64, Sega, and everything. So it was always something to do on the weekends or at nights as a kid. And in college, I played it with friends and buddies. So it's always been a part of my life, but it wasn't until later on it became more of a burden in my life.
So, obviously, the two intersected there kind of shortly after you were drafted by the Colts. You went through your rookie season. Could you talk a little bit, maybe for those that don't know, how things happen when those worlds kind of mesh together?
Yeah, I mean, I was, coming from college, I was still playing video games, but it was, with my buddies, in the house, blah, blah, blah. Then I went to the Colts, and they had a game room, and I was playing with other guys and stuff, and I didn't own a Xbox at the time, and everybody else were talking about how they're online and they're playing Call of Duty and Madden and all these games, and hey, Quinn, you should go out and play with us. I was like, all right, so I went and buy an Xbox and a game and get the gold subscription internet, and I started playing with the other guys on the team online. After practice, going home, playing Call of Duty and whatnot online. So that was my first time experience with the online play and being, at home by yourself and no one else there, not with a group of friends. So it was different for me. And for some reason, being an introvert, I actually enjoyed it because, I had to worry about people being around me. I was, secluded to myself.
Now, you were more of a first-person shooter guy than a football or sports game guy, right?
Yeah. In college, we did all. We did a lot of NCAA and some Halo, but it wasn't until I went to the NFL when I started playing Call of Duty, and that's when I really got into the first-person shooter game. And for some reason, it really attracted me with a lot of the mini, just doing the mini achievements of ranking up guns and the rankings and the hardcore search and destroy, hardcore team deathmatch, stuff like that. It really triggered my brain chemistry and got me really addicted to it.
At your worst, what would you say? Did you have that moment where you said things have to change? What was it on the drive in to camp where you decided to turn the car around, or did you have an epiphany prior to that where you knew things were kind of out of control and you needed to get help?
So I started noticing it wasn't when I was driving to camp and decided to call and retire. During then, I thought I was done with football. I just didn't think I wanted to play anymore, and I didn't think it was depression, or I didn't think it was because of video games. It wasn't until months later, after I quit, and I was playing from sleeping in until 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock p.m., waking up and playing until 7 to maybe even 2 o'clock the next day, playing all day, and then I started realizing, wow, I'm playing too much. So I was like, okay, tonight's the last time I play. Next morning, first thing I do is I start playing. Okay, well, then I broke the game. I was like, all right, so I broke the game, and tomorrow, I'll go to the gym or I'll work out or I'll, do something else. Well, as soon as I woke up, I went to Target and bought a game. And that went on for a few times where I think I bought 4 games and had broken microwaved one, took one to a blowtorch, broke one just in half by hand, and that's when I knew I had a problem. When it became an actual physical need to want to play the game for some reason, I didn't know why.
it's kind of cliche in sports. We talk about, people that want the best athlete, but maybe not the best person. So I don't know if you noticed, Indy Star this year had you as the Colts' 8th first draft pick. What would you say
I saw that.
What would you say to somebody that can't see past the athlete and maybe doesn't want to look at a person that went out and admitted they had a problem and got help for it?
I'm almost flabbergasted because, one, the gentleman who wrote that, I thought him and I were, pretty good friends at the time. And also, and like you're saying with the fans, like, it's like, since I came forward and spilled my demons and, try explaining myself to everyone, I even got like a harder backlash with it. Like, they were just more happy, just whatever, oh, he quit, or you're tired, and boom, they moved on. But now that was brought up, they felt like I was weak or, this and that, or it's not a real addiction, it's not a real problem. It's like, they're like, oh, I can play, just put the video game down. Well, it's just like, I can tell an alcoholic, well, just put the drink down. It's kind of the same lines, like, unless you've been a part of it, you can't really, judge someone and tell them how easy it is to get away from it, or how, people are saying like, oh, depression's, bullshit. And I used to be one of those people. So it actually took, it was rough when I saw that, but I can kind of see where they're going from, and it sold papers. But it's one of the things, like the whole NFL and I think society, they understand people with drug problems or spouse abuse or any other situations, but when it came to this, they understand it, and it seems like they still don't understand, and I'm kind of being pushed off as the weird one.
Well, obviously, things came full circle. You found yourself back in arena football. You think the experiences you've had have kind of made you grow? And obviously, in hindsight, everybody can look at things a little differently. But if you didn't make that decision in your mind and you didn't turn the car around, where do you think you would be today?
I don't know. That's one of the things. Like, I try not to what if myself. I am happy where I'm at now, and things happen for a reason, and I feel like I've grown more as a person. So I'm happy where I'm at, and I've thought about it a little bit, and I think I probably I had the opportunity to be a starter, so I could have been starting on the team, and I could have been playing in the Super Bowl. I could have been, but then at the same time, I could have, with the depression, I could have, started having an alcohol abuse or drug abuse. And the next day we'd be talking about Quinn Pitcock, the abuser, and getting pulled over, So who knows what could have, went down that path. And I'm glad the path I took, the way it went. Yeah, it's tough at times because people look at you weird, but I'm happy where I'm at.